My name is Osman Gondal.
I'm the project coordinator for InTouch Keithley.
I'm the CEO and founder of InTouch Foundation.
Hi, my name is Pepper and I'm a carer for my daughter.
मेरा नाम नामुल्लाह है, मैं taxi driver.
My name's Daniel and I'm the Information and Research Officer for Healthwatch Bradvertise District.
Full name is Sibde Abbas Bukhari,
My name is Shanaz.
but more commonly known as Sibbe. I'm a youth worker for Bradford Council, working in the Keithley district.
My role is I am a Community Health Officer.
My name's John D. Braley and I'm a massage and relaxation therapist based in Keithley.
The nature of the good deed is to help those that are in need. So it doesn't matter what background you're from, what race, what religion, it's us guys coming together to really help you as an individual.
We wanted to give back something to the community.
As a Muslim, coming from a Muslim background, we're taught to help those that are in need. And to help my local community, because that's where charity starts first, is in your local community, and then you go further afield. And what I saw in Bradford, that there was some good work that was being done, but from a Muslim community, we need to do a little bit more.
We crossed where the old Fletcher shop used to be, and we saw somebody sitting out there and asking for help. And because we didn't have anything on us at that moment in time, we wanted to do something to help that person out. So then we started off thinking about how big the problem is in Keithley.
So what I wanted to do with this project was feed the homeless. That's one side of it. And what I always said was that we'd provide food that I would be happy to eat myself at home as well. Mind you, it's not just feeding the homeless. I say there's three categories that I try and put everybody into. One is the homeless, two, those that are on the poverty line, and the third thing is anybody else that wants to come and join the queue. And the reason I say that is because there's someone that may just want to come and not really have food, but may just want that opportunity to talk to somebody else.
We feed an average of 50-60 people every Wednesdays.
Alhamdulillah, I mean in Bradford we're doing last week we did 176 meals.
But that's something which our religion teaches us, to give something back to the community, and that's what we're here to do. That's our purpose of InTouch Foundation.
We had one guy who came up to us and said, I'm going to commit suicide today. And that, I've never been involved in a situation like that, but between myself and Shabir, who's our chair, we talked to him, we helped him, we came back after the trailer had gone, and we sat down with him. And the following week he came back all smiles and said, thanks a lot guys, that really made all the difference. I've been doing this for the last 9 months, I haven't made a penny out of it, and my intention is not to make any money out of this at all. I do this out of my own goodwill, and so do all the volunteers. If you have an idea, just do it, just go for it, set your objective, decide what you're going to do, get a good team around you, and just go with it, because nothing will hold you back. It's only you that's going to hold yourself back.
The nature, in essence, was beautiful and amazing. Listening skills from a friend of mine, a Muslim friend. I was in a situation where I didn't know, number one, how to deal with it, number two, how I would get out of it, where I was going, how I could progress or anything. And through the kindness of that person listening to me, they went on to feed me with what they perhaps thought was a simple one-liner that had the most profound effect on my life. This Muslim friend of mine said to me at the time that God will never give you more than you can bear. It was only later I became a born-again Christian, hallelujah, and learnt of 1 Corinthians 10:13, which is the exact scripture that this Muslim friend had given to me at the time, and it sort of threw me into shock when I found out, because to me that was God, you know, working in his mysterious ways. This is about faith and people and love and sincerity, truth, connection with many of my friends, whether they be Muslim Asians, whether they be black, whether they be Chinese, anything, do you know what I mean? And there's too much of this division going on. before I came to faith, you know, I was actually taught things like, oh, you can't mix with them, that, you know, that's wrong. And this is wrong because God is love and God loves everyone. The message that I would give to people, for what it's worth coming from me, is be yourself, find out who you are with the Father, your faith, and that will give much strength to carry you forward, whichever path you take.
मैं नाइट शिफ्ट करना था तो मैं उथा डुक पॉइंट आया उथा मैं उथों गुजरना था मैं तक क्या मिगी खाली पंप्स नज़र आए तो मैं पहलू आख्या छोड़ो पर क्या पता कौन हो सी उल्टा मुसीबत अपने गले कई बारी नेकी करो तो बुराई बनी जानी है मैं आख्या ये ना हो पुलिस वाले माड़े ही मत्था लाई छड़न फिर माड़ा दिल नहीं चाया माड़ा दिल ही मतमीन होया तो मैं वापस गड्डी मोड़ी का आया तो मैं गड्डी उत्थे खलाई तकिया गोरा पानिया भी टट्ठा सी सर्दियां का मौसम सी कोरा पिया सी बहुत सर्दी सी फिर मैं गड्डी खलाई है गोरे की छिक के थोड़ा जा बाहर कढ़िया पानिया चों पर मैं आपू स्लिप करना सा था इस बार बड़ा डेंजरस सी फिर मैं रोडा खली गया हाथ देना रहा कोई बंदा गड्डी खलाया कुसा नहीं गड्डी खलाई ये राती 1-2 बजे ना टाइम सी गोरी कोलू लंघी है तो उस गड्डी फिर अगू मोड़ी के आंदी है आनी क्या प्रॉब्लम मैं है माड़े को निकलन नहीं माड़े सू काफ़ी वजनी है भाई भारा बंदा तो उसमें क्या अपना कार्ड दसिया आनी मैं CID वाली हाँ तो मैं मसे काम छोड़ी के आ गया तू की रोडा तक गया तां मैं गड्डी मोड़ी है फिर असा दोवें मिली गया उसकी थोड़ा छिकिया बाहर कढ़िया पानिया चूँ उसकी अपनी जैकेट शैकेट लवाई है क्योंकि सर्दी नाल कंबना सी पऊँ फिर उस पुलिस वाली तो एंबुलेंस वाले बुलाए फिर वो आए उन्होंने माड़ी सारी स्टोरी सुनी है फिर उन्होंने समझा शायद माड़ी टैक्सी बैठा सी फिर उस गोरे को पूछा तू इस टैक्सी ने से बैठा उस आख्या ना मैं इस टैक्सी ना मैं आपू टट्ठा हाँ तो ये माड़ी हेल्प करना सी फिर उन्होंने कहना एंबुलेंस वो थोड़ा इंजर्ड भी होया सी फिर उसकी अस्पताल की नहीं खड़िया था फिर मैं घर आई गया फिर कोई 2-3 हफ्तियां बाद पुलिस कांस्टेबल वाले मिगी लैटर थैंक यू उन्हें लिखा बस ये स्टोरी है फिर 2 हफ्तियां बाद मैं उस गोरे की चाया वो ठीक ठाक सी उस भी बड़ी थैंक यू की है असा ना दीन तुसें पता इस्लाम हज़रत मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम जड़ा उन्हें असा की यह सबक दिता गोरा काला जड़ा भी है सारे बराबर जड़ा मर्जी कल्चर और रिलीजन हो तुसा एक दूए की मदद करो मैं नहीं तकिया वो गोरा या काला माड़ा दिल ये करना सी वो इंसान है भाई इंसान की इंसान की मदद करनी चाहिए भावें गोरा काला जो भी है उसकी जड़ा ना आपस में मिलजुल कर रहना चाहिए
I work here in Keighley, but I live in Wakefield. I was at Bible study group and my minister was telling me about an EDL march that was happening the Saturday after. Well, we discussed in Bible study the various injustices that exist in terms of people being discriminated against on all sorts of grounds. And we looked at various biblical passages about treating aliens and how aliens are being treated throughout the Old and New Testament. And that inspired me to do something for the anti-EDL campaign group. Now, I wasn't really brave enough to go on the march myself. I hadn't done anything like this before, but I thought I might be able to help out beforehand and asked if I could do some preparatory work. And they gave me some green ribbons, some large green ribbons, like the one here, but much larger, to distribute to stallholders, some of whom were hostile, some of whom were very apathetic about it and said they didn't want to get involved in any way. That's understandable. At the time I was quite upset, but now I'm just kind of saddened at the fact that so many people are are willing to stand back and see injustice like this occur. But I can understand that people don't want to be seen to take sides in case they are victimised themselves in some way. It was more to do with the fact that I myself often feel that injustices have to be righted in some way. That doesn't mean an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but it does mean that there should be a certain balance between people that are pro something and people that are anti something. But sometimes the nature of some of these marches intimidate those that have views that are contrary to that. And that's why I wanted to do what I did, in order to be able to redress that balance. There were one or two stallholders who were Muslim themselves and felt very reassured by the fact that there were people around the area who were campaigning against the march, and they felt that they were able to set up their stalls in a certain amount of safety. And if one person felt less intimidated, even a stallholder, then I've had some kind of impact and some kind of success. I myself come from a minority group. I'm an openly gay man who conventionally isn't well regarded in society. There's a famous quote that all it takes for evil to occur is for a few good men to do nothing. Even if you're doing something very small, something very modest, you can be involved in redressing a balance which is discriminatory against people. And you'll never know in your lifetime, but perhaps believers like you and I will hear about it and learn more about it when we meet our own makers.
The nature of the good deed I received was help, support, advice, all kind of rolled into one. In January 2008, my mum, she fell ill of a stroke, where her mental capabilities were completely reduced. Her physical abilities and capabilities were reduced also because of the stroke. At that time, I wasn't around to help. I actually found out through my Christian friend Sarah. It was Sarah that was the initial point of help for my mum when it came to assistance with physiotherapy, assistance with bathing, assistance with feeding and drinking, and just the biggest thing for me was assistance in giving my mum confidence to be able to carry out her own personal duties, i.e. cleaning up around the house, cooking, bathing herself, showering herself. I don't believe she would have been able to do that now as she is doing if it wasn't for the help of Sarah.
Siri's brother had also passed away within that few weeks as well, and then his mother had a stroke, I think a few weeks after. So there was such a collection of things that were going on at the time that it was just, we were kind of struggling really to see what was going on, and because we were such close friends, I just felt like at the time it was my job to support really.
The initial impact was getting her through the first stages of recovery, being mobile, getting about, her speech, her walking up the stairs.
I think she knows that there's good people around, that it's not just sort of she has to rely solely on family. It's people everywhere who are willing to help really.
From the first moment we met, we kind of like knew that that they were one of the first things that we distinguished, that Sarah's Christian faith background and my Islamic faith background. Through conversations, I knew that Sarah, in her beliefs, felt that it was her job as a Christian to help anybody, regardless of colour, creed, background or religion. and I think that religious teaching in the Christian faith was one of the major factors in her helping my mum, because she didn't need to, but she did. The thing you may not know about Sarah is that she's a Pakistani Christian. Always been conflict between Christians and Muslims in Pakistan, more so on behalf of the Muslim side, which Sarah may tell you herself. Unfortunately, some family members have been seriously injured because of Muslim attacks on Christians and Christian churches, places of worship. But we've never allowed that to affect our relationship, our understanding, our communication between us. And we've solely based our friendship on how we've engaged with each other, how our families have taught us to be towards different faiths, different castes, different religions. And like I said, if it wasn't for Sarah helping with my mum, I don't think my mum would be where she is. And that this whole interview, the whole process that we're going through, I think these two people, one person is a perfect example of interfaith cohesion and different faiths working alongside each other and working together to ultimately help each other.
I've witnessed a lot of the suffering in Pakistan with churches being bombed, and sort of stories from my uncle saying that he's had to have like shrapnel removed from his legs and things like that. So that's always existed, tension between Muslims and Christians. But I think living in England and meeting someone like Sidde, he was just a really nice person. There's so many nice Muslims that, you know, that are just great people. That it just seemed, you know, that to support each other as friends.
I think the biggest thing that I've always thought is just put yourself in somebody else's shoes. That can help someone be a better person and be better at understanding other people's situations. And you can be big and human enough to do that. You'll find it a lot easier helping others, regardless of religion or colour or caste or creed.
When I set up in business here, I started to do more and more outcalls, which is a visiting service for people. And one particular client started to recommend me, sort of word of mouth recommendations to family and friends, and that's helped my business to grow here in Keighley. I feel that he likes helping other people, and he's actually said that he likes and hopes to help my business. But also, if a person has a problem, stress related or aches and pains, it might be that he gets a good feeling out of helping them. So if they get some benefit from it, it makes him feel good. From a business point of view, I've got a few referrals because people have rung up and said that they've named him and said he's recommended me, strongly recommended me. And his friends and business associates and family realise that I do in-calls and out-calls, so it gives them different options. So it's impacted my business because he's explained to them that I can come to them or they can come to me where I'm based. But also he's recommended me and said that it's helped him with his particular reason for having massage. It's helped me get a link with the Muslim community. There's quite a few Muslims and Asian people live in Keighley, and he's sort of helped pave the way for me to do business with that community. And I just think it's that he's sort of helping himself by helping others. He's helped me, and I mentioned his business and his family values. The Muslim religion, and we've talked about that and he's given me more insight into religion from his perspective. So it is religion and family values, but I think the two things are linked. The message is that if you help others, it can help you help yourself. I think from a business point of view, if you help people, it just has a knock-on effect, and what you give out you can get back. And I find that in my personal life. I do, hopefully, I feel I do good deeds for people, and certainly people have done good deeds for me. So my message would be that if you give things out, you will receive.
I've had many good deeds, but I'm going to focus on one. And this was 28 years ago actually, and I was 16. It was summer, it was about June or July time, and things were awful in my life. Things were, well, you know, basically I was just didn't see any hope, and there's a lot of issues at home, and there was no escaping from it. And I remember looking out my bedroom window and thinking, you know, just feeling like I was in a prison really. No one to turn to, couldn't see hope, and tears were rolling down my face, and I'm looking out, just, I don't know, in desperation really, for help, and then I suddenly saw this gentleman dressed in a cloak, and he looked up at me and smiled and gave me a wave, and I remember smiling back and giving him a wave, and after that, instantly I felt hope. He made me smile in my darkest hours. He made me smile. And I think he's made it his thing to do. I really would like to sit down and have a proper chat with this gentleman. He made it this thing to go and, you know, smile at people. I've certainly seen him do that, and I certainly think that's what his aim probably is, most likely is to make that difference and give people hope. And you know, if you can make a person smile, and then, you know, is a good deed done. But at that time, looking back at that, and it takes me right back in that window, you know, standing in front of the window. Muslims and Christians mixed very little at that time. You were in your own communities. And so when I look back and what it did for me then, but this gentleman who wasn't a Muslim, who was you know, a Christian, I think, I'm making an assumption there, but you know, and what he did for me at that time. So when I have a down moment, I do look back at that, and I look at the good people that have done good deeds, you know, certainly for me. And they keep me going, they keep me smiling, and they give me hope when I'm down, even now. And like I said, it doesn't cost anything, and the difference that it can make to another person, well, I've just shared my story, and when I thought, that's it, there is no hope left for me, this gentleman gave me hope when I really, really needed it. So, I mean, really to be mindful that there will be people living in situations, and you don't know that, so you can't really read people's faces and see, they might be smiling on the outside, they might be crying from the inside. Smiling, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't cost you anything. You can make somebody's day, you can make somebody's life.